saying work capacity across broad time and modal domains is really the gold standard. That when you're 80 years old, 90 years old, what makes a bigger difference in your life is work capacity. And
that work capacity across broad time and modal domains is just fitness.
right.
So there's probably nothing more important to quality of life or health than maintaining work capacity across broad time and modal domains throughout your years.
Right, because again, it's like what is quality of life? It is the ability to do what life demands. So people take this and I think make an erroneous set of assumptions, which is let's take Miko Salo, or we know more about, say, someone like Chris Spieler, because we've known him for years and we've seen what he does and we know his nutrition and fitness levels and program. He is an elite athlete by every definition of the term. When you say that work capacity matters more, say, than triglycerides or blood pressure or that, people say, well, are we then saying that Chris Spieler is going to live the longest and have that, that fitness today is in fact a predictor of longevity? Is that what we're saying with our definition of health?
What I'm saying is that living to a ripe age, holding an inordinate amount of work capacity should be the goal. As to whether or not increasing your work capacity across broad time and modal domains today and maintaining that level forward as a guarantor of the quality of your life, maybe your longevity, or your being free of chronic illness, that needs to be determined by measurement. And what we're saying is that there is value in making the measure. And it's just that simple. You cannot refute, you can neither make the hypotheses nor refute it absent of that measure. Now, it may turn out, it's possible that a work capacity like Miko's does not bode well for his longevity. I mean, I would bet money that's not true, but we won't know until it's studied, until it's looked at. And in the final analysis, anything that gets me, and there's two facets to this. I want to live long, and I want to maintain high work capacity. And I wouldn't settle for living to be 150, but having to be entirely dependent on others for 75 years.
Of course.
And I don't want to live to be only 60, but hold Greg Amundsen's capacity up till 60. That wouldn't be worth it either.
Right.
But in terms of looking at these trade-offs or understanding the operative mechanisms that govern or control the quality of our life, whether you're in a pathological state or not, chronically ill or not, and longevity, this would need to be measured. And what we're doing is we're working with parameters that are readily measured. Work capacity is pretty easy to measure, and you can do it all the time and do it throughout your years, and you have something.
So really what it's important to recognize is, so CrossFit is proposing a definition of fitness and a definition of health. And that's independent of CrossFit, the program, the workout program's ability to actually generate that health and that fitness. I mean, it's
yes, it is. I want many people to measure this, and I think that what we would find, this is my hypothesis, and it's not a conjecture because I'm giving you a test for it, how we do it. My hypothesis is that the CrossFit lifestyle, meat and vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, no sugar, constantly varied high-intensity functional movement, learn and play new sports, etc. You can just look at the 100 words, fitness in 100 words, that will do more to extend life and quality life, meaning what? Again, maintaining your work capacity across broad time and modal domains, be able to do all those things that you always did and do them well. I believe that we're going to find that we're on the right path for that. But regardless, whether I'm right or wrong, we won't be able to make meaningful assessment until we start measuring force, distance, time over years.
right.
Through again, and from short to long duration, just consistent with our definitions. These things are measurable, My contention is not that we're measuring on them. We are to some extent, but not what needs to be done. But it's an important measure, and it needs to be done, either to substantiate the CrossFit methodology, to refute it, or to improve it. That we've got nothing until we're taking these measures. Nothing.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. You've seen dramatic improvements in every population for a relatively short duration. So, for example, you've taken a kid, you've taken a middle-aged adult, and you've taken an elderly person, and numerous, and you've seen dramatic improvements in basically all the markers that you care about. Now, to draw the conclusion that we can therefore improve it indefinitely is a bit of a stretch yet, because we haven't...
I do have 15, 20, 25-year clients, and but not enough to convince anyone of anything, probably. Maybe not even myself. But I've got to tell you, I'm supremely confident of where we're going and what's unfolding here.
Yeah.
There's almost a meta-analysis or a meta-client you get by having worked with children, having worked with seniors, having worked with people with a serious chronic and acute disease states, transplant patients, HIV positive and AIDS patients, and I've seen just about every type of client you could imagine. And eventually a picture becomes pretty clear as a clinician that we're doing something here that makes a profound difference at any age. And to assume that holding a high work capacity would bode something poor or negative for the future, I don't buy it at all. But we won't know until we measure, until that work's done. And we're not going to do it. I'm going to let others do it. Because we're in the business of, what's for dinner and what workout do I do in the morning.
Right.
That's where CrossFit lives.
Now, what would happen? Because I don't necessarily buy these arguments, but they come up frequently in these discussions. What if you have a 30-year lifestyle, a 30-year life with this kind of workout style, where you're good, and then all of a sudden there's a cliff. The world is flat. You fall off the edge when you get there. What would happen? And I don't think it will, and I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that it ever has. But if you found evidence that suggested that in fact there was some major flaw in this prescription, the 100-word prescription, what would you do with that?
If the problem were that CrossFit didn't extend lifespan, I don't know what I'd do. But if you were able to show that an elevated work capacity at a young age predisposed you to a reduced capacity for the same age down the road compared to not doing it, I would recommend a decrease in the intensity. So if it turns out that being a performer at 2/3 of Greg Amundsen's level would be causal for you to have a 30% advantage in work capacity from 60 to 90, I would say it wouldn't be worth it to be the Greg Amundsen.
But do we have any evidence so far to suggest that would be the case?
I've never seen anything like that, and I'm betting that we're not going to see that as a businessman.
Right.
Yeah. I feel, in fact, look, when someone says, "Test me, measure it," you do so with a fair amount of confidence that the result's going to substantiate your suspicions. I think most people engage in scientific experiment with some kind of hope or sense of the outcome. I think that's almost human nature.
Right.
And I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident.
So
I wouldn't mind being shown wrong either, though, because if we were to show that reducing your work capacity in a younger age predisposed you to an advantageous work capacity as a senior citizen, that would be a monumental discovery.
Absolutely.
Something just hugely important.
Yep.
Hugely important. I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't care too much either.
Why? Why don't you care?
We do CrossFit for the way you feel, not during Fran and not 5 minutes afterwards,
Right.
but 3 hours after until you do it again.
Right.
So it improves the quality of my life. I get 21 better hours out of each day because of it.
Right.
And I would take that at a reduced life expectancy.
You would, yeah.
Yeah. Not by 20 years. No, I'm not going to take that deal. But if you were to show that a CrossFitter was going to live to an average age of 67 but remarkably capable versus not having a significantly diminished capacity and living to be 72 or radically reduced capacity, making it to 150, I don't want to sign up for it.
Right. What kind of life is that?
Yeah. I think most people are exercising, people that are going to the gym every day are doing so largely for psychological reasons anyways. That the brain is just another organ, and it responds exceedingly well, as do all other known organ systems, to exercise where there's intensity.